the mic.
Get on the mic.
Just get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Get on the Mic. That's where you put me in front of a microphone with a few notes and I talk about some of the more interesting things that have happened in the world of entertainment this week or whatever else I just feel like talking or ranting about. And one of the stories today, I'm gonna rant. But before we begin, I want to remind everyone of my partnership with the DNA Digital Network. Now, not only will you be able to find this podcast on YouTube, but you'll be able to find it on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and other places podcasts are available. Now you can listen to this program on your favorite audio device. For more details, make sure to check out DNADigitalNetwork.com. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. First, I'm going to be talking about where my Ready Player One review is. A lot of you that watch the YouTube channel have probably noticed that, hey, this movie's been out for a few days and Geno hasn't had a review of it. Well, we'll talk about that here in just a second. Also, we're going to have an update on Daniel Bryan and his status with WWE. We're also going to be talking about Captain Marvel movie news. Tom Hardy talks about those Venom rumors about the suit not being in the movie, or barely being in the movie anyway. A solo actor talks about the movie's reshoots. I'll have a preview of my review of Muppet Guys Talking with Brad Jones. And in a rant today, I'm going to talk about Facebook. But we're not going to be talking about what you think we're going to be talking about. Not the big news that's in the news right now with Facebook. Because honestly, that news doesn't surprise me. So the first thing I want to talk about is this. And by the way, you'll have to forgive me. I'm starting to get that weather change cold, where, the weather decides to be hot one day and cold another, and then back to hot again, and you start to feel like crap. Well, that's me today. Anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is, where is my Ready Player One review? Now, I did see the movie on preview night, which was odd this year because of the Easter holiday. It was on a Wednesday. So I did get to see it, and I decided to do something a little different. And we were going to do this anyway, but I kind of just decided to make it my one review. I started writing a review for it on Thursday morning, and I just decided, and I did do my radio review for those of you that listen to me on the radio in Decatur, Illinois. I did that review, but that's only a 2-minute review. So, I mean, it's crammed full of as much information as I can cram into 2 minutes, right? But instead of doing the solo review, I did a review with my partner in crime, Heisner, over on the GB3 YouTube channel, where what we've done is we each saw the movie. We did a before recording, and then we're going to record after. We're probably going to be recording that probably maybe Sunday or Monday, and then I'll put it up on the YouTube channel. And we're just going to be doing our before and after review just to see if the movie lived up to our expectations, if some of our fears came true. I will say this, for those of you who are wondering, I don't want to leave people hanging that much. I recommend the movie because it's a lot of fun. I'll leave it at that. But you'll get more details when we put our review together. I do recommend the movie, and I say if you want to see it, go see it because you're going to have a good time. And I will say this, though. I didn't read the book, but I think fans of the book might have issues with the movie because I know after doing research, after seeing it, they changed a ton of stuff. So there is that. But we'll get into more details when Bill Fields, the Heisen nerd, and myself get to talk about it more. And like I said, we will be releasing that review on the Geek Be Cubed YouTube channel. It won't be on the Real Geno channel, won't be on the Heisner channel. I will put links to it on like my Twitter and stuff like that. So if you haven't found the Geek Be Cubed channel yet, you'll be able to find it there. But on YouTube, it's Geek Space B Cubed, and that's on YouTube. The next story I want to talk about is a Daniel Bryan update. Now, last week we talked about Daniel Bryan returning to the wrestling ring, and at the time we said it would probably be for WrestleMania. Well, now there's new updates on his status as a quote-unquote in-ring performer. When it comes to him performing, he had to make a deal with the WWE for them to give him this opportunity. We went through all the testing and everything. That's the first stage. Now that he's able to compete, he now has to undergo impact testing and a neuropsychological evaluation with WWE doctors backstage after each and every match until they're comfortable that he's okay, or at least that they think he's doing okay. Dan O'Brien mentioned on Edge and Christian's Pod of Awesomeness that he is interested in working a part-time schedule. My guess would be so that he could, spend a lot more time with his family and maybe not do it on the wrestling right away. I mean, he's been out for, a few years now, and I think he just wants to, he wants to ease himself back into it. Honestly, I think that's a pretty smart idea. Take it easy at first, play it safe, just in case. I mean, you never know. He may wrestle this match, and he's going to be having a match at WrestleMania, which of course a lot of people thought was going to be the case. He's supposed to tag with Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but apparently Shane McMahon has diverticulitis, so I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle. I think they're going to give him like a mystery partner or something, maybe someone big, a returning person. I joked and said it'd be CM Punk, to a lot of my friends and stuff, but I mean, we all know that's not the case. I mean, who knows if it does change, it could be anybody. My official guess, I think, is going to be Kane, since they were a tag team once, and that wouldn't take away from it would add to the moment of Daniel Bryan returning instead of trying to bring in someone that might take away from the moment a little bit, as they were Team Hell No years ago, and so I think that's probably going to be what happens. I have some thoughts about what the WWE is going to do with Daniel Bryan over the next year, and honestly, I think they're going to be setting up next year's WrestleMania. Over the course of the next year after WrestleMania, I think Daniel Bryan will feud. First of all, let's talk about the WrestleMania match. I don't have notes about it, but I want to talk about it. If they beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn remain fired. If they lose to Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, they're rehired. Unless they do something weird like have Daniel Bryan turn on his partner and get them their jobs back, which I don't think is going to be the case. Gosh, I hope not. Don't ruin it by trying to turn him heel or something, because no one will buy it. I think what they're going to do is, and they've been doing this since they were quote unquote fired, Kevin Owens changed all his stuff back to Kevin Steen, which is his real name. And Sami Zayn's been selling El Generico t-shirts, which was his old persona in Ring of Honor. I have a feeling that they're going to win against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and those guys are either going to go to Raw, or they are going to come back to SmackDown as Kevin Steen and El Generico. That's just something I could see happening. So that's just a little play on it that I wanted to throw out there. But after WrestleMania, I think we're going to see Daniel Bryan in some feuds with guys like AJ Styles, maybe Shinsuke Nakamura, but the ultimate goal will be the show of shows. I have 3 potential opponents. All of them would be Universal Champion at the time, because if you don't make Daniel Bryan champion one more time, given this opportunity, I mean, yeah, he's back and he's popular, and you could just, use that, but you got to throw a belt on him. And for the case of the last one I'm going to talk about, it could be the Intercontinental Championship too, but honestly, you give him the Universal title. The first opponent's Roman Reigns, and we talked about those rumors last time about Roman Reigns, how there's rumors that, they used Daniel Bryan to push Roman Reigns, and they kept Daniel Bryan down so Roman Reigns could get over. You could play off of that. Now, I don't think that hurts the future if you let Daniel Bryan beat Roman Reigns. I think that gives the fans a victory, because the fans that feel that Roman Reigns is being crammed down our throats, which, he is. I don't dislike Roman Reigns as a performer. You give him the right opponent, he's really good. His stuff with Braun Strowman is fantastic. I still rooted for Braun Strowman, but, because they were trying to force, Roman Reigns as the babyface. They need to get Roman Reigns heel, turn him heel, and let him build up a reputation just as a heel, because people will actually appreciate that. And then, like The Rock, which they're trying to turn him into, let him start getting over as a heel, and people want to see him turn babyface. He can fake a babyface turn, do like The Rock and said, well, this whole time you didn't want me to win. Be a bigger heel, and then when he makes the turn finally, he'll be accepted. But when, we knew he was going to win the Elimination Chamber this year, you knew he was going to Mania, right? We all knew it, but we knew before the pay-per-view started he was going to Mania. To face Brock Lesnar. So, having Daniel Bryan take him on, have him, join Triple H, and, which I'm done. I'm so done with the corporate thing, but I kind of wish they would dump the corporate thing for a long time, like ever, forever. But, if you're going to do it, have him join Triple H, because he'd be like, I'm sick of all you, so I join them. Kind of like what they had Seth Rollins do, which honestly Reigns should have been the one that did it to begin with, or Ambrose, but Rollins was the worst pick for that, even though he did a good job with it. So yeah, Roman Reigns is my first pick. My second pick, and this one frightens me, but also there's a lot of question marks about it. The second pick is Brock Lesnar. The reason it frightens me is because I don't want to see Daniel Bryan go to Suplex City. The chances of Bryan knocking his head, getting thrown around by Brock Lesnar is highly likely, right? And I mean, as much as everyone wants to see that match, it scares me, because that Daniel Bryan, for a match like that, would throw caution to the wind. I'm not saying he'll start doing flying headbutts, but he will take a bunch of suplexes, and sometimes Brock Lesnar is not very nice with his suplexes. I know wrestling is quote unquote fake, but the stuff that Lesnar does looks like it hurts anyway. And of course, if you do something wrong, like when Braun Strowman, accidentally kneed him a little too hard, and he punched Strowman in the face, saying, "Slow down, kid." I'd hate for him to see, say Daniel Bryan accidentally do something, then punch Daniel Bryan in the head. I mean, I would hope he would have the courtesy of being careful, but you just never know. Emotions run high sometimes. Or you just never know when he's going to throw him a little too hard. So, as much as I want to see that match, it scares me. Plus, the question mark about this match is Lesnar may not even be there after WrestleMania. I mean, you could tell he wants to get a big payday from the UFC for fighting one fight. Especially if John Jones gets cleared, and then, from his whatever steroid thing he was dealing with, or the Turinabol, I think it was, that was found in the system after the DC fight. And so if John Jones gets cleared, and then Lesnar can serve the rest of his suspension for steroids, which is why I lost a lot of respect for Brock Lesnar. Even in the WWE, I know some of the guys take that stuff. I mean, that's their prerogative. They can do what they want. But, I mean, when you look at something that happened like with Chris Benoit, I mean, there's the possibility, which I don't know if they ever confirmed it, of steroids there, plus, knocks to the head. And I mean, look what happened there. And that may be a rare case, but I'm sure the more you pound your head into things, and then you've got chemicals inside your body, changing you and things like that. Like, I'm not a doctor, but changes to your body, drastic changes like that can't be good. So it makes me worry about him and the people he wrestles. I was pretty pissed when Lesnar went back for that big fight against Mark Hunt. And then, I rooted for Mark Hunt because I just like Mark Hunt. But then, Lesnar was saying, I'm white and I'm jacked, deal with it or whatever. And then he gets caught, taking, I believe it was testosterone blocker, or estrogen blocker. So, of course, yeah, you're white and jacked because of a needle, dude, and I just lost a lot of respect for him. As a character, I'm fine with him, because he's just an actor, but it still makes me worry about any in-ring competitor, and him taking on Daniel Bryan with the factors that we have there makes me even more worried. So yeah, there's a lot of question marks with Brock Lesnar. The one that I want to see the most, though, and like I said, I'd rather be for the Universal title, because I want to see this guy win Money in the Bank and then cash it in the most Weasley way possible, because that's his character. Maybe around Survivor Series. I want to see The Miz, because when Daniel Bryan had to retire, The Miz starts a feud with him, right? Over on SmackDown, with Daniel Bryan being, the quote-unquote part of the authority over there, and then The Miz being a performer. Well, then you couldn't do anything about it. Now we can, And the reason there's a lot of reasons I like this. First of all, they set themselves up organically over on SmackDown. And, now that the possibility's there, payments are coming, Miz. Yeah, I'd like to see him win, Money in the Bank and weasel out a title win around maybe, say, Survivor Series, and then find a way to keep it until WrestleMania. The stuff just, like I said, it was so organic, it didn't need to be written. The Miz and Daniel Bryan, they had the best feud that couldn't happen, but now it can. So, and like I said, you could use the Intercontinental title for this, but I don't want to see Daniel Bryan win the Intercontinental title. I do, but I'd rather see it be like the Universal title. But what I think is going to happen is, The Miz will get the title and be able to keep the title till WrestleMania. And heck, he could even, survive, if they did Elimination Chamber, with him having to defend his title, kind of like they did with Alexa Bliss this year. He could eke out a victory there somehow too, right? Just to kind of keep him weaselly strong for Mania. But then the smart move, have Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble. Ever since he didn't come out in the Rumble and people booed Rey Mysterio for being number 30 when they thought it should be Daniel Bryan, he should have won a Rumble. The next year when he got eliminated early, and then they used Daniel Bryan to try to get Roman Reigns over for the next WrestleMania, having Daniel Bryan challenge Roman Reigns for the WrestleMania spot. There was that. It should have been him, right? Now's the year. Or next year, I guess I should say, is the year. The WWE needs to be smart. You don't know how long Daniel Bryan's going to wrestle. He could decide, you know what, I've got a family now. Let me get one more run out, maybe a few years, and then he's done. Which, you know what, people would be okay with that. As long as they get to see some dream matches and he's healthy, and him being healthy, of course, the most important thing. They need to strike while the iron's hot. They can't screw this up. You've got Daniel Bryan for probably a few more years. Use it. Also, when it comes to Daniel Bryan, I don't know if I talked about this last week. I don't remember. But I think that I have this feeling that they're going to allow him to wrestle at the show that was on September 1st for New Japan. I think they're going to allow him to wrestle Cody Rhodes. I think just like Chris Jericho, you can thank Chris Jericho for opening up this door. Him doing some New Japan shows while still under contract with WWE. I got a feeling that Daniel Bryan said, you know what, I want to stay, but I also want to do this. If you let me do this, I will re-sign right now, right? I just have this feeling that the main event of that show is going to be Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes, and they're going to let him do that one-off shot, right? Because that's just big money and big publicity for both of them. So I don't remember if I threw that out last week. That's just something I've had on my mind that I think is going to happen. But long story short, I think the WWE needs to make sure they use Daniel Bryan to the best of their abilities. Use him while he is healthy. Of course, keep an eye on him. Make sure he stays healthy. But as long as he's healthy, especially for the next few years, he needs to be the guy. Because that's what everyone wants. They're happy to see him back. Make him the guy. And again, I think next year at WrestleMania, he'll be hoisting the Universal title over his head. You know, and it's that dream comeback come true. And the WWE needs to make it happen as long as he's healthy and as long as he's there. They need to use him the best they can. No matter what, though, I'm just happy to have him back. I'm a huge DB fan, and I'm happy to see that he at least gets one more go. Let's move on to the next story. There's big Captain Marvel casting news. What we know about the movie so far is, of course, Brie Larson is starring as Carol Danvers in the first female-led Marvel movie, which, you know, I'm sure, you know, ticks off Scarlett Johansson. But this movie is supposed to be set in the 1990s. That opens up a lot of possibilities. We already knew that Samuel Jackson, with both of his eyes, was returning to his role as S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury. I'm willing to bet he loses an eye in this movie. We also knew that Jude Law is playing Walter Lawson, a.k.a. Mar-Vell, who was Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers. We also know that Ben Mendelsohn is playing a villain. Hey, typecasting's fine if the actor's damn good at it. He's pretty entertaining in Ready Player One as the villain. Of course, he was Krennic in Rogue One. He was, I won't call him a quote-unquote villain, but he was in a movie called Place Behind the Pines, where he was a person of questionable morals. And that was the first movie I remember ever seeing him in, and he's fantastic in that. If you haven't seen Place Beyond the Pines, that's a great movie to check out, especially if you want to see a good Ben Mendelsohn performance. What we learned this week, though, was that a few other past Marvel movie characters were returning to the franchise. First, Lee Pace, and I'll probably butcher this dude's name, Jaimin Hanzo, would be reprising their Guardians of the Galaxy roles as Ronan the Accuser and Korath, respectively. So that's kind of cool that since we're basing this in the 90s, you can bring back some characters that are dead, right? Before Korath got blown away by the Guardians and before Ronan the Accuser got beat by a dancing Chris Pratt, you know, we can use him again. I'm not really surprised, but I think that we'll be getting the Kree-Skrull War, which, you know, is a big comic book story. The idea of shape-shifting scrolls brings tons of possibilities to future stories for Marvel. I mean, who knows? You know, some of the people that are in the movies now may be Skrulls, right? And I think they're going to pull a nice little big twist. I have a feeling that in Infinity War, we're going to see the Skrulls for the first time, and it's going to be some of the Avengers that have been compromised. I'm not sure who. I've seen one trailer for Avengers. It was the first one, and I haven't watched anything else, and I don't plan on watching anything else. I had to close my ears, shut my eyes, and in my head say la 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 whenever one popped up at Ready Player One the other day. Because I don't want to know anything that I can avoid, right? That being said, the really exciting news about Captain Marvel is that Clark Gregg is returning to the MCU as Agent Phil Coulson. He's been greatly missed since he quote-unquote died in the first Avengers movie. I know he's been doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I got through about 2.5 episodes of the first season, and I heard it got better, but I don't have time for really long TV series. I'm a little too busy work-wise and then doing this project stuff. I have to be real choosy with shows. But, I mean, ever since he showed up in the Marvel Universe, in the movie universe, I mean, he's become a staple and so popular that now he, of course, like I said, when they killed him off, he's back to life in the, in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. He was all over the cartoons, and, people wanted Agent Phil Coulson. And now it's going to be nice to see him get to come back to the movie universe, albeit in the past. But that's okay, because I love Agent Phil Coulson, and it'd be nice to see him back. So that was some big news for me. I had a feeling it might happen since it was in the past. Who knows? We may get some more people. I'm not sure who else they'd bring. I know they would probably want to not bring in like maybe big superpower people. You never know. Maybe a Hawkeye might show up. That's a possibility. A Black Widow is a possibility. I don't know how long her, she was away from being an assassin at that time. Even the Winter Soldier. I doubt those will show up, but you never know. Those are ones that, since they weren't the Avengers yet. Then again, whenever they make comments about, there's magic and monsters in the world or whatever, they seemed surprised. And being that, Captain Marvel's a superpowered being and there's aliens and everything else, who knows what they're going to go for. But I am happy to see that some of the past characters that either didn't get a very big chance to shine, like Ronan or Korath, or characters that we've missed in the movie universe, like Phil Coulson, are getting another chance to come back and have some more screen time and get their characters developed a little more. So I'm excited about that. The next story I want to talk about is Tom Hardy addressed all those Venom rumors that you've been hearing lately. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's the basic gist of it. After the lack of Venom in the trailer for, Venom, rumors came out about the possibility of Tom Hardy not suiting up in the movie. After that, a Reddit rumor, as credible as Reddit is always, right, was being spread around that someone had saw a rough cut of the movie and said that there was a lack of the Venom suit in the movie. Getting tired of people talking crap about his film, Tom Hardy himself went on Instagram to defend his movie. He wrote, and spelling and punctuation errors and all, he wrote this: "Just saying, Venom suit - myths usually asinine circulate about things usually by those who have failed to garner credible intel." First, after the major fail that was the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, I think, at least I hope, that Sony would be a bit more careful about how they treat the characters, especially in the Spider-Man universe. which is why I think this rumor is BS. At least like I said, I hope that they would do a better job at, kind of giving the fans what they want. Secondly, the trailer itself had unfinished effects. The scene that I can really point out, and I'm willing to bet there's more of them, the scene where all the people fly back, I think it's like in a cafeteria or something. I'm pretty sure that will be a scene where the suit lashes out in a room filled with salt. Tentacles and all, right? Like Venom does, where he just kind of goes crazy with the suit. Because people are just flying back for no reason. There's missing effects there. And that leads back to, the Reddit thing where the guy supposedly saw the rough cut. Yeah, there's probably not going to be a lot of Venom suit there. There's probably lots of mocap stuff in there too, or green screen stuff in there. It's unfinished. It takes a while to do effects. So, of course, it's not all going to be there. I mean, the movie comes out this year, but I'm sure that stuff takes a while. So, yeah, there's probably a lack of the Venom suit in an unfinished cut because they got to do the effects for it. It ain't going to be a real suit, at least most of the time. I'm willing to bet that a lot of that suit will be CG. Whether that's a good thing, that's another story. I don't know. But I think a hybrid might be the best way to go. But hey, it's not my movie. So we'll see what they do. Thirdly, and the last thing I want to say about this is, one question I have is this, though. How are they going to fit the spider on his chest storyline-wise if Spider-Man isn't in this universe? They've been saying that, yes, this is the Spideyverse, but there's no Spider-Man in it. Of course, I think they were meaning the MCU Spider-Man, like it doesn't connect with the MCU. So, my questions are these. Is Spider-Man secretly in the universe? You never know. I mean, when's the last time Sony lied to us? I'm sure it was not too long ago. Movie studios aren't just going to be like, yeah, of course he's in it, and he's going to be in it all connected. It'll be fine. No, they want to keep some surprises. So they'll lie to us. Sometimes they're okay at lying to us. Sometimes, like J.J. Abrams, they're terrible at lying to us. Yeah, we know. He's not Khan, right, JJ? Of course he's not Khan, JJ. Could they use the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man in this universe? I'd be okay with that. If you're not going to connect it with the MCU, which I would like it if they did, but if they're not going to connect it with the MCU, I mean, they have the animated movie coming out with Miles Morales, and I know Peter Parker's in that movie. I believe John Krasinski is going to be voicing him, at least for that bit part, because there's that scene they show him in the subway. He's definitely talking to Peter Parker. I don't know if they'll be able to name him or show his face or whatever, but apparently John Krasinski is voicing him. By the way, I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm also wondering if the strange skull and crossbones picture that Hardy posted on Instagram with his asinine comment is the image that will be on the costume instead. Kind of looks like it. It's like this weird skull and crossbones thing, and I could see them using that as an image to replace the spider, since there's no Spider-Man. And how would he get a spider on the costume? Because that's how, just because it was on Peter Parker first, right? I'm going to predict that last part is what's going to happen, because, they have to make it their own, which is that wise? I don't know, but because I think people are going to want the spider, and maybe later on they might add into it. But it also could be the Miles Morales thing too, because though they're saying again that it's not true, there's rumors that Tom Hardy did some voiceover work for the Miles Morales movie. And if he did voiceover work as Venom, they could connect the universes. That'd be an interesting concept, having animated movies here and live action movies. That would be weird, but hey, man, I'm all for them trying it, especially if it works. I've mentioned this before, but I was honestly happy they didn't show the costume in the first trailer. I mean, yeah, a lot of people joke that it was, it's Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy the movie, right? Look, I like a little mystery, though. And that being said, I'm sure that Sony will probably overcompensate when the second trailer comes out and show too much. I hope they don't. I mean, if I would say maybe give us a small glimpse of the suit. Maybe not even a full glimpse. But here's the thing. No matter what they do, I'm really looking forward to this movie for a lot of reasons, but especially after the whole Topher Grace's Venom thing. Because Sony has a lot of making up to do. Alright, we're going to move on to the next story. A solo actor came out and talked about the movie's reshoots in secret. The behind-the-scenes issues about Solo, a Star Wars story, are pretty well documented right now. Lord and Miller were fired, Ron Howard was brought on to save the movie, etc. Some new quote-unquote news, because I put those in quotes because take this with a grain of salt. While this person could be credible, they could be full of crap too. But some news came out to inform, in the form of an interview, that an actor in the movie did with the website Vulture. An anonymous actor, and according to Vulture, not one of the film's marquee stars, but was in a prime position, was in a prime position to observe the director's contrasting on-set modus operandi. The source seemed to be saying that Lord and Miller were out of their league directing a Star Wars movie, and he said, quote, "Phil and Chris are good directors, but they weren't prepared for Star Wars. After the 25th take, the actors are looking at each other like, this is getting weird. Lord and Miller seemed a bit out of control. They definitely felt the pressure. With one of these movies, there are so many people on top of you all the time. The first assistant director was really experienced and had to step in to help them direct a lot of scenes." Also in the article, it mentions that a spokeswoman for Miller and Lord claims that this info is quote-unquote completely inaccurate. So he said, they said, whatever it is, because I don't know if the actor's a guy or a girl, whatever. They said, I guess we'll say. One thing that apparently didn't change, though, and this was a surprise to me, given all the reshoots they're doing, was the script. Lord Miller, as well as Ron Howard, were shooting the exact same story. The source said this, quote, "It's exactly the same script. They're filming exactly the same things. There's nothing new. Lord Miller used whole sets, but Ron is just using parts of those sets. I guess they're not shooting wide angle, maybe to save money." The next part of the story in Vulture was about the man playing young Han Solo himself, Alden Ehrenreich. After Lord and Miller were fired, apparently an acting coach was brought in to work with the would-be scruffy nerf herder. The source had this to say about it, quote, Alden's not a bad actor, just not good enough. According to the source, Lucasfilm wanted something very specific from Ehrenreich. They wanted his performance to be as close to the original Harrison Ford role as possible. Not really a big surprise there. I mean, it is a movie about one of the most iconic characters in cinema history. The source goes on to say that after the coach was brought in, Ehrenreich's acting became more relaxed, and that he became, quote, he became more Harrison-like. I'm really not sure what to think of all this. I mean, this guy could just be blowing smoke, but I would hope that a media site would definitely do their research. I do remember hearing stories comparing Ehrenreich's performance to that of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective at one time. I mean, there's memes out there that they put, they took Han Solo's body and put Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura head on him, and I mean, when I heard that, I was really worried about the film. I mean, I'm worried about it anyway, but after hearing that, I was like, oh my God, what are they going to do? There are many that think that the zany acting from Aaron Reich is what got Lord and Miller fired. That they wanted this zany acting character, and that's who they wanted as their lead. And Disney was like, nope. But in the end, to be honest, even after seeing the first trailer, which is the only thing I've seen, it's the only thing I'm gonna see. I'm trying to limit myself nowadays for movies to one trailer if I can avoid it. To be honest, my expectations are already pretty low. They were low, and they're still low. That being said, I really hope that I'm wrong. I want this Star Wars story thing to work. I liked Rogue One. It had its flaws, but I liked it. You know, I want this stuff that they're doing to be worth it. I want it to be, I want it to matter. You know, if you're going to give me these stories, especially about the characters I already know, because I know that this movie, you know, everyone was questioning in The Last Jedi about those dice, Han Solo's dice, right? Everyone was like, wait, what is those? All right, what are those? And apparently this Solo movie is supposed to address that, which in a way that's kind of cool, but, you know, I want these movies to have purpose, not just to be cash grabs. The next story I want to talk about is about my Muppet Guys Talking review I did with Brad Jones. A day or two ago, I posted a review that I did with Brad Jones, aka the Cinema Snob, where we reviewed Frank Oz's documentary Muppet Guys Talking. If you're not listening to this podcast on my YouTube channel already, that's where you can find the review in its entirety. Here on the podcast, though, I just wanted to give you guys just a taste of the long-form review. The review is like 30-some minutes long. We just kind of, you know, shoot back and forth about what we thought about it and issues we had and our love of Muppets and everything else. But I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a taste of it. So here you go. Just a small bit of Brad Jones and I talking about Muppet Guys Talking.
First of all, it looks like I'm your Muppet right now reviewing this. So, no, what the movie is it's certainly an easy movie to watch because it is the five of them sitting around, really not unlike we do on like a weekly basis, except we're not, you know, talking about old shows we did.
Well,
or
it's like if
like
you were
that,
sitting around talking about like disco or something.
No, yeah, 20 years later.
Just something you worked on. It's like, well, let's talk about it.
20 years later, get a bunch of people together. It'll be like internet guys talking or something like that. It's very intimate. It's they're sitting around in chairs and they're just having a conversation with each other. It's really all based in one room, and Frank Oz is kind of the moderator of it a little bit. Like, he's the one who's kind of sitting at center. The rest of them are in couches around him, and really they're just shooting the shit. Which, again, like I said, like, you know, that's what we do all the time, all the time and everything. And that was really cool to see that. Like, it's certainly a documentary, but it really is also just kind of a conversational piece, really, about them reminiscing about old times, how they came up with certain characters, and also just a really loving tribute to Jim Henson.
Yeah, it's definitely a love letter to him.
Absolutely it was. And it was cool seeing them talk about how they created and found the voices for characters that you and I and millions of other people grew up watching, because I grew up watching this too.
Oh, of course.
Sesame Street all the time, The Muppets, Fraggle Rock as well. I mean, it even got to a point where I would be like fascinated with like the knockoffs. There was one thing I found one time that was called like Safety Frog teaches CPR or something, and it looked like a cracked out Kermit the Frog teaching about safety. And I don't know, stay away from used needles. I don't remember what he was talking about. I saw it in college. But you are right in that I really could have watched them talk about all of this stuff for like another hour. I watched the movie today. I watched it this afternoon, and when I saw that it was 65 minutes, I remember thinking like, well, okay, well that frees up a lot of the rest of my day as well. Like, okay, I guess this isn't like a 3-hour movie or anything. But when it ended, I was like, man, I'll bet you there's a lot of stuff that's just, missing from here. And in my head, I was like, well, okay, maybe there'll be some kind of extended version of it. Maybe they got enough for another movie. Or, just a bunch of deleted conversations and things like that. But really, I could have watched them go on for like another hour.
Again, if you want to watch me and Brad's whole review of the movie, make sure to check out the Real Geno YouTube channel. That's ReelGeno. If you're not there already, listen to this podcast on the channel anyway. The last big story I want to talk about is Facebook. And no, I'm not going to talk about the whole thing they got going on that's big in the news. That stuff doesn't surprise me. Something else been bothering me about Facebook. And I'm sure a lot of you that know this, especially those of you that have channels, say on YouTube or whatever, and use Facebook as fan pages. Have you noticed, and this has been happening for a long time, but it's really just gotten on my nerves lately, especially as my Facebook numbers start to go, like my follow or whatever, my like count or whatever count goes down. If you notice that the Facebook posts don't get seen by as many people. And what really pisses me off, what's really getting on my nerves, is that Facebook keeps asking me to pay to boost my post on my fan page. The fan page that people should already be seeing anyway. Right? I've noticed that, now granted I know some people, follow you and then they do the, the unfollow button where they like your page, but they're not getting the updates on their timeline. I get that. But when an average of, especially whenever I throw links to the YouTube channel or the videos on there, when less than 100 people see it, or maybe an average of 100 is around there somewhere, see it, and you've got 1,400 people that follow your page, the numbers just don't add up. Look, I know I can be a polarizing guy, especially when it comes to my reviews, but you can't tell me that many people have unfollowed me. Right? The odds just aren't there. It only seems to affect the links to my YouTube channel. Right? If I post something personal, like say I share a story about my kids or something like that, or just throw a note out there, a lot of people see it. Now, I'm not saying all 1,400 some people see it, but the numbers go up drastically. Right? But when it affects the links to my YouTube channel, it bothers me because, of course, this is where I need people to see it. I need people to see the links to the YouTube channel because, it helps support the channel. And it just frustrates me. Right? I think I know why they do it with YouTube, because they want you to use their video upload, right? So they get the traffic or whatever. But it's crap. I don't, even if I made money on YouTube, like say I actually get past this 4,000 hours thing and I actually make money, I wouldn't make the money. And like I said, this doesn't really matter to me. It's just general principle of it. You don't get to make money on, putting your videos up on Facebook or whatever. I'll bet somehow they make money off of it. That's why they want you to use their service. And, here's the funny thing. The other day, I posted a message on Facebook. I was mad. I was really mad about this whole thing, about people not seeing my posts. There for the longest time, I used their uploader and stuff because I wasn't worried about, using YouTube or whatever. I didn't understand monetization. And like I said, I still never made a dime, to this day. But I just didn't push the YouTube channel because the Facebook upload let me get away with more copyright-wise and stuff, even though, I should have fair use, even though a lot of, they hit me with a lot of, not full copyright strikes, but the thing where they said, well, if money's made, you don't get it, which, like I said, I haven't seen a dime anyway, so what did it matter to me? My message was getting out there, but the videos I was allowed to use more on Facebook and not have to worry about it. That's why I used Facebook. After the TV segment I was doing ended, though, I decided to start trying to learn more about YouTube, and since I wasn't going to be getting the little bit of help I was getting from the TV station, I wanted to at least try to get YouTube monetization working, because, if I made a few bucks and it helped out, great. So I started using YouTube more, and I started putting my links up, from YouTube on Facebook, and then the numbers went down drastically of people who were seeing it. Like I said, I posted a message on Facebook the other day, and I tagged Facebook in the process, because, you know what? Are they going to see it? Probably not, but I at least wanted to think that there was a chance they might see it. So I tagged them, and it addressed this whole situation. And here's the thing. It wasn't a link, right? It was just a post. It basically said, hey, Facebook, stop asking me to pay for, pay to boost my post when you're not even allowing people to see them anyway. The people that are supposed to see them anyway aren't seeing them, so stop asking me to pay for it. And I put a picture up of the horse from Ren and Stimpy, the one that says, no, sir, I don't like it, And here's the thing. A lot of people saw it, and it got a lot of hits. More than usual, of course, because it wasn't a YouTube link. Then I get a message from Facebook on my notifications. Of course I did. And you know where I'm going with this. You know what the message said. The message said, hey, do you want more people to see your post? You should pay to have it promoted. You have a high volume post. You should have people see more of it, so you should pay us. Right? Of course it said that. Of course they asked me to pay for a high volume post. You know what? Everyone should see it. Because if they like and follow the page, like I said, I know I'm not going to get 1,400 people seeing it. Not everyone uses their Facebook page and all that stuff. But you can't tell me, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but more people saw this post than a lot of my posts when it comes to, from YouTube. I posted something about, my kid the other day. It was his birthday. So, of course, I made a post because I love my son, and, I want people to know that. I want people to know that I'm proud of my son. I love him. He just turned 10. And so I put a picture of him up. Got a lot of hits. Right? Because, of course, it wasn't a link to YouTube. So, of course, more people are going to see it. In my notifications, hey, you got a high volume post. You should pay us money so more people can see it. Screw you, Facebook. I just want it to be, if people follow the page, they see the post, no matter what the post is. Yes, I know you want people to use your video service, but I don't want to use your video service. And I've used it for a few things where I know, like say it was more of, a message that I just wanted to get a quick message out there or something. But it's been a while. Here's the thing, YouTube, or Facebook. I don't have the money to pay you for a page that at one time you claimed, and I quote, it's free, and it always will be. And yes, I know you're probably only talking about the signing up part of Facebook. But still, it's a pretty dirty tactic to give people the ability to follow a page and then not always let them see that page. Look, I can understand if a big corporation that makes tons of money needed to pay to have ads on the site. But for those of us that are just trying to reach the people that quote-unquote like our page, You cutting them off from it is bullshit. You cutting off the page's owner is bullshit, and you, Facebook, are bullshit. You know, in a way, part of me hopes that this whole privacy thing sinks you. Or at least those that made the decisions to do it. Now, I don't want to see good, honest, hardworking people lose their jobs. But for the dirty SOBs that do stuff like this, you can go to hell. Look, Facebook, again, I know you're a business. And that's fine. Just stop playing dirty to make a buck. I just want the numbers to match and not have to pay for it. You know, again, if I was a corporation and you wanted me to pay more, I get that. But I'm one dude that's just trying to have fun and wants to reach the people that you gave the ability to reach me. Yet you hold them off because you want money from me. And that's crap. That's going to be all for the big stories this week. Now on to quick hits. First story. For those wondering why an Aquaman trailer hasn't dropped yet, director James Wan has the answer for you. It's all him. He came out and said that it's just not ready to share yet. He said on Twitter, "This movie is filled to the gills with VFX, and the process is as slow and laborious as a sea slug. Yes, even shots for the trailers take forever to do, and I refuse to put out anything that might be construed as subpar. I know it seems like nothing much is brewing above the surface, but I can assure you we're working nonstop under the waves. P.S. And yes, I plan to use oceanic puns references every chance I get." So I guess that we shouldn't worry. The Aquaman movie isn't sunk yet. Speaking of James Wan, the producers of It and Wan will be producing another Stephen King story, bringing his book The Tommyknockers to the big screen. There is no word if Wan will be directing the movie, but one thing's for sure, it can't be any worse than the made-for-TV version, I hope. If It is any consideration, it should be good. Two of the three big X-Universe movies have been delayed. X-Men Dark Phoenix is being moved from its November 2018 slot to February 14th, 2019, and The New Mutants is being delayed from February 2019 until August 2nd, 2019. This is the second move for The New Mutants. Apparently, a test screening of Dark Phoenix called for some reshoots, but getting the large cast together was causing problems, so they needed more time. For The New Mutants, rumors are saying that the reshoots are being done to make the movie scarier and possibly to add in one or more new characters. Up to 50% of the movie may be reshot, according to some reports. Want some good news? Tom Hardy is going to be starring in a movie about Al Capone's later years in life. Now for the bad news. Fonzo, as the movie is called, is being written and directed by Josh Trank. Yeah, that Josh Trank. Fan Forstick Josh Trank. But it's got Tom Hardy. But it's got Josh Trank. But it's got Tom Hardy. But it's got Josh Trank. Look, maybe if we get Chronicle Josh Trank, we might be okay. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Well, the answer is simple. For once, it would be Netflix. Netflix is going to be not only making a live-action movie starring Gina Rodriguez, but also a new animated series as well. Let's just hope that after it comes out, we can find it. Excuse me. While I may need to cover this more in a future episode as more details come out, the FXX animated Deadpool series starring Donald Glover that was in development has been canceled. While FX Networks claims the infamous creative differences was the cause, the Glover brothers, Donald and Steven, are not going so quietly. Donald Glover not only shared a mock script for the show, but has been possibly hinting that their ideas might have been too edgy for Marvel. I'm sure I'll have more on this if or when more comes to light. The CW network, not wanting to let perfect casting and NBC stupidity go to waste, have promoted Matt Ryan to a full-time cast member on CW's Legends of Tomorrow. Ryan will once again don the trench coat and pretend to smoke cigarettes on national television as the powerful Hellblazer John Constantine for the series in its fourth season. While I still would rather have seen him end up on a cable network that wouldn't hamper the character, I'm happy to see Ryan get to play the role he was meant to. Netflix has brought on Frank Miller and Tom Wheeler to produce a series called Cursed, which will be an origin story about the Arthurian legend of the Lady of the Lake. It will be based on their illustrated YA book of the same name. As of right now, 10 episode series has been ordered. If you want some more Netflix news and how they are not allowed to compete at Cannes this year, plus how Steven Spielberg doesn't think they should be able to compete for Oscars as well, make sure to check out the latest GB3 podcast with me and my friend Heisenerd over on the Geek Be Cubed YouTube channel. In news that I'm sure will piss off AMC, Landmark Theaters, owned by Mark Cuban, have signed a major deal with MoviePass. Now at Landmark Theaters, you will not only be able to use the card, but some new features as well. Some of the new benefits include e-ticketing, advanced screening reservations, and in-app seat selection. Landmark Theaters operates 255 screens in 27 markets, including Florida, Illinois, Los Angeles, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Texas, and Wisconsin. And the last quick hit, Traveler's Tales will be producing a new Lego The Incredibles game that will follow the events of not only the new movie coming out, but the original film as well. Look, that's all fine and good, Traveler's Tales, but I'm still pretty pissed at you for not finishing the Lego The Hobbit series or even making a game for Star Wars The Last Jedi. That's going to be all for quick hits, and now for just a quick channel update. The quest for 4,000 hours continues. I'm still about 200 hours away from my YouTube reevaluation. I just ask that, especially, I'm looking for people to watch Brad and I's video about Muppet Guys talking. Help me bust through YouTube's doors. I don't want to just barely get over that 4,000 hours. I want to kick their doors down. It's just general principle of the matter. I'm stubborn, and I just want to see that happen. So, so if you can help me get through that 200 hours, that would be much appreciated. So if you want to support me and you're listening to this on the DNA Digital Network, go to the Real Geno YouTube channel and watch all the stuff you can. That's REELGENO. I also want to draw your attention to these different things. I've mentioned it a few times in the show, the Geek Be Cubed YouTube channel, where we have the GB3 bi-weekly podcast. And also, again, we're going to be doing Heisenerd and I are going to be doing our review of Ready Player One. It should be coming early next week. Also, my partner in crime, Heisenerd's channel. He does live streams and Let's Plays. He also does a weekly podcast called Heisenerd Speaks. I think he's working on another new thing. I don't want to spoil it here. I'll let him be the one that brings out the news on his channel on that. Also, I want to draw your attention to the DNA Digital Network. Thanks to them, not only be able to find all three podcasts, Get on the Mic, the GB3 podcast, and Heisenerd Speaks on YouTube, but now, thanks to DNA, you'll be able to find it on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, and other places podcasts are available. So now you can listen to all three of those programs on your favorite audio device. For more details, make sure to check out DNADigitalNetwork.com. Lastly, of course, I just want to thank everyone for listening in. Letting me rant a little bit today, get my Facebook frustrations off my chest. I'm happy to keep doing this. I'm having a good time, and I know I repeat myself with this stuff, but those of you that support me, it means everything to me, and I'm glad those of you that have stuck around. Those of you that comment, I had someone apologize to me for giving me a big comment, and it's like, I appreciate the passionate people, the ones that put the big comments out there, that take the time to comment and want to start discussions and everything. And just, even if you don't comment and you just watch the videos and you enjoy them, I'm happy that you do. But yeah, don't ever, and I always say this, as long as you're being cool on my or on my channel, and leaving cool comments, I'm cool with you, and I'm always trying to respond to everybody I can. So those of you that are enjoying the channel and contributing to the channel, I truly appreciate it. I want to throw a big thank you out there to Bill Heisender. It's been a lot of fun working with somebody else, and he's been a friend for a long time. And if you haven't supported his channel, I ask that you support his channel. Like me, he's just trying to have a good time, and I know some of you do support him, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I'd like to see his channel grow. I got to thank Brad Jones, the Cinema Snob. What started as a work relationship, became a friendship, and I'm always going to appreciate his friendship because he's, been trying to help me out, trying to help me grow and get past this YouTube thing. So he's been a good friend, and again, I just want to thank the people that listen to this. I'm not always the most outspoken guy when it comes to my feelings, but I'm so glad to have my friends and family and my kids especially who are my biggest fans. I'm glad to have them, because without the support, if I was doing this on my own, it wouldn't work. Like I said, I'm not always the most open guy in person, but those in my life, I may not always say it, but I appreciate all the support you guys give me as well. That's going to be all for Get on the Mic this week. I got to get ready. I'm headed to Indianapolis tomorrow. I'm going to Indiana Comic-Con. I'm going to meet Wallace Shawn. I'm very excited about that. He's someone I grew up with Princess Bride, and my kids, and I know him for this as well, but he's the reason that Rex is my favorite character from Toy Story, and that's, of course, he's one of the people that I've used to help teach my kids about voice acting. I'll be like, who does he sound like, whenever we watch The Princess Bride. One kid said he sounded like Mr. Incredible's boss. The other kid said he sounded like Rex, and it's like, good boys, So I'm going to get off the mic now because I got to get ready for that trip and get the house ready and everything. So still got to hit the grocery store and everything else tonight. So that's going to be all for Get on the Mic this week. As always, again, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, I'm the real Geno Reynolds. Peace.